Hello, hello, my friends. Welcome back to Strong as You Think. Today, I want to talk again about pain. And we've talked about this before. Well, simply, we all experience pain of some kind at some time or another. It's part of our human experience. But last time I talked about pain, we talked about how it brings a message. Okay. I use the example of when we may touch a hot stove and it hurts. And the message is get your hand off the stove as quickly as you can because you're going to do damage to your body if you get burned, right? So we can think of pain as this warning system. And that can be really helpful at times because we do want to be warned if we're going to be damaged or hurt badly. And there are examples of how this could be a warning system. If you're in a situation where you're being abused in domestic violence, like physically abused and your body hurts, that's telling you you're not safe, right? And so you know that you need to find a way to get out of that situation. You need to find a way to get safe. And so that's some of the ways that it's really this warning system. But there are also ways where when we think of pain as a warning and we can't figure out exactly what the problem is right away, but then we get the pain and we feel upset about the pain. We know it's probably telling me something's wrong. So we get a panic feeling, we get upset. And we think, the pain is a bad thing. It's telling us something bad. And so we think every time we have pain, it's something to get more worried about. So on top of pain, we've layered this worry and this stress, this tension. And what does that usually do to the pain? It usually intensifies it, doesn't it? So it is not always useful to use the word warning when we have pain. It can be useful. We talked about some of those ways where it really is useful. But if we always have this idea of pain as a warning, that kind of carries a negative connotation, doesn't it? So what do we want to think of pain as? What if we just thought of pain as an indicator? What if we kind of were able to get more neutral about the idea of pain? It's just indicating there's something we want to look at more, right? So I had this experience. I had this itchy rash and it would move over different parts of my body. And I had gone to the dermatologist a number of times. They tried to treat it. They didn't know what was causing it. And it was intense. It would cause me to scratch till I would bleed before I even realized it. It would keep me up at night. And I was feeling really stressed about it too. And didn't really know what to do. Started seeing a life coach. And she taught me, okay, she wanted me to lean into the itch. She said, don't scratch it, or at least have a time when you're not going to scratch it, when you're not going to get upset about it, but you're going to welcome it. And that was kind of a crazy thought to me, like, what? This is intense. This is crazy. How could I do that? How could I not itch it? How could I just, I would feel tense just even thinking about the itching that was, that would happen often, so I was struggling just even thinking about it, right? But I tried it And I wasn't really good at it at first. But when the itching sensation would come, I wouldn't scratch it. And I would just try and think about, how did it feel in my body? And just say, okay, what is causing this? As I could kind of take the tension down, as I kind of got out of my head about the itch and about being worried about it and about how I couldn't stand it, how I was able to just kind of get into my body more. How does it feel in my body? I was able to not scratch it all the time. And during those times, I was able to figure out that there was this disconnect, and that I had these feelings that I should do something in my life, but I was scared to do it. So I felt like I should do something, but I wasn't doing it because I was scared. And so there was this conflict going on within me. And eventually it came out in a bodily symptom. I wasn't listening to it in my mind and in my heart, and I wasn't taking action. I was kind of staying stagnant. And it started showing up in my body. It was coming up as an itch, which was an indicator. But the more I was upset at it, I thought it was a problem. It wasn't doing anything for me, and I wasn't able to hear the message that it was bringing me. And the itch did completely go away, but it's also still a message. It still comes from time to time. It's never gotten anywhere close to what it was at the time. But I know when I start to have an itch that it's telling me something, that I need to look at how I'm reacting, how I'm thinking about a certain thing, how I'm feeling. Like I noticed when I would get stressed about something, I would start to scratch on my arms. And that was an indicator like, oh, you need to look at this. You're not paying attention. And so it's never gotten bad again, because now I recognize the itch for what it is telling me. And it doesn't have to be a bad thing. That doesn't mean I enjoy it. Ooh, I love to itch. No. But it has to be a little discomfort or uncomfortable, or you're not going to pay attention to it usually, right? So it's okay that it's a little uncomfortable. It's just telling me something. And in many ways, I'm really grateful for that now, even though it was miserable, because it got me to take next step that I needed to in my life that I was scared to do. And so I want to have you try and welcome the pain, welcome the discomfort of what's going on, whether it's physically, like my itch, whether you're feeling just antsy and uncomfortable, whether you're having pain. Sometimes it's just, I'm having this emotional pain. You need to look deeper at that. But to try to embrace that, whether it's, I'm going to spend a little time before I take the medication to see what the pain's telling me. I'm not telling you not to take medication ever for pain. Sometimes it's take medication to take the edge off so you can listen to it. So kind of just be curious. Don't judge yourself. Don't put a judgment on the pain or on, what you're thinking about it. Just be curious. And you'll figure out it'll take some time and it'll take some practice. But if you can take the edge off by not worrying that you've had pain, that pain doesn't have to be a problem, you're going to really be able to see what message is coming for you. And I just think we've talked about pain as a message before, but let's really try to take the judgment out of it. And it'll help you embrace that more. It'll help you be willing to feel it more. And when you can feel it, it takes some of that tension away. It allows you to hear the message that maybe you were putting off, like I was. So I want you to try that. And when you understand pain is more neutral, I want you to just take a look at and see how that also affects how you think about others in pain. We won't go all into that today, but just a little invitation. Don't put the judgment on your pain, but it also might affect how you think about others' pain too. Thank you for joining me this week, and we'll see you next time on Strong as You Think. Bye.